Sure. My name is Yash Sabharwal. I am the co-founder and CEO at CherryCircle Software, and we make the QBD Vision platform for digital CMC management. Well, as pharmaceutical manufacturing executives come to us, they're all struggling with the same challenges of how to manage the information that's generated over the long life cycle of CMC development. As you move from process development into scale-up and optimization, and then into validation and tech transfer, there's a lot of information that gets generated. In today's world, it's generated often in Microsoft Office applications and statistical packages, and it leads to a problem where there's really poor visibility and transparency, and they're all trying to figure out how to change that as they go forward with their new programs. The main piece of advice is that the regulations and a lot of the best practices are already outlined out there in the industry. So the ICH guidelines, the QBD principles have been around for a long time. The challenge has been that, while those things tell you what to do, nobody knows actually how to do them because the tools aren't available. And so what we're now seeing in the industry is these types of digital tools coming to the forefront, where people are looking at this and saying, there's a better way to do this. We don't need to use documents as databases for the rest of our lives, and there are more efficient ways to manage this information, and that's really what we're starting to see come to the forefront. So we get this question a lot around. It seems like there's the platforms that are out there, they're going to be difficult to use until we get all our data in there, and our response to that is, well, possibly, but there's a lot of value in actually building that information and over time as your program's evolving. So if you take that step now where you start to build that information as you're generating it, then by the time you're really ready to utilize that information, whether it's for a regulatory submission or it's for a tech transfer, all this information is already there, and you're not trying to retroactively build it with all the legacy data that you have, which can be really daunting at that point in time. You have to do both because there are organizations at all different stages, and some of them are starting with digital strategies right as they begin their development programs, but you have others who are catching up with digital strategies, and they're well into development programs. So the most successful systems are going to be those that can actually help companies do work either way. So if you're already moving down, you're already well advanced on your development path, you can still use this platform to get your legacy information in quickly. Or if you're a new company and you're just getting started, you can utilize whatever platform you're looking at and start to put your information in at that time as well. Yeah, so a lot of times people will say, well, I am comfortable with my Excel, why should I change? Right? And my response to that is, well, let's take an example. If you look at the ICH Q8 guidelines, they ask you that you should be able to trace critical process parameters to critical quality attributes. Now, if you ask most people, how do they do that? They say, well, we just have to manually kind of create these maps, right? So you can stay with your approach and manually create maps, or you can move to more robust systems that automate these things for you, and you can move down the curve a lot faster. Sure. So CherryCircle is the name of the company, and it was named that way because my co-founder and I were neighbors on Cherry Lawn Circle in Austin, Texas, many years ago. And so we were friends back then, but I recognized he was a very talented software developer, and at some point I thought, if I ever start a software company, this is the person I want to do it. Ryan Shillington is my other co-founder. So CherryCircle is the company, QBD Vision is the platform, because the idea is that you want to develop under the best principles, and you want those best principles to give you visibility into what you're doing with your development. So day one starts, getting a core team of people together, right? That might include people from your process development, from your analytical development, maybe some people from, MSAT or Tech Ops, and again, you're following the guidelines. So if you go to ICH Q8, they basically tell you start with the target product profile, start with a quality target product profile. That's patient and its product. And it's very clear. That's where they want you to start with the end in mind, and that's how our software is configured. You start there with the end in mind. You don't have to start there, but that's a good idea to start there. If you want to start with your process, you can go ahead and do that. But we always recommend start there because now you're defining what it is that you're trying to get to, right? What's the destination, if you will? And once you know the destination, then you can really think about what's going to be my roadmap to get there. And so that's really how our software is constructed. It's intended to be something that really provides a lot of context around what you're doing before you really think about the data. So that's an opposite sort of theme as opposed to other solutions that might be out there where they're very data centric, and we try to be very context centric first, because then the data can make how it makes sense and what you're doing with it when you finally go there. Sure, I mean change management, is something that you always have to think about when these new technologies are deployed. People ask us about that, and our response is that you're going to do a risk assessment. You have to. ICH-Q9 says you have to. So the question is, where are you going to do it? Our software isn't asking you to do something different than you're required to do. It's just giving you a different place to put that information. So you can put it in an Excel spreadsheet if you want, but if you put it in a solution like QBD Vision that's structured, you have the ability to connect that information, that risk assessment information, in ways that are much more robust and deeper, that can provide a lot more context to the organization than a simple Excel spreadsheet can. So it's, you're still putting information into something, just, where do you want to put it is the question. And that is to us, the answer is put it in QBD Vision, because it'd be a much more productive exercise in the long run. Well, we want people to think about this not as a resource intensive solution to be using. It's intended to be something that provides you a lot of leverage to make your organization more efficient. So as an example, if you've been putting information in for 3-4 years into our system, now you're ready to do a tech transfer, right? The traditional ways to do tech transfer are very document based. Oh, we have thousands of reports that describe our process. Here you go. Here's all these thousands of pages. Now you figure out, how that's going to transfer to the next scale, right? And we're saying, well, what if we digitize all of it, right? If it's all digital in our system, then that transfer becomes less of a transfer and more of a sharing. Now you're tech sharing. You're not tech transferring anymore. And people are getting together around our platform to say, okay, how does this process compare to this process? And it's all right there in front of you because you've taken the time to build it in over the years, instead of thinking of it as okay, now we have to go do this as a separate activity, which is then very resource intensive, very time intensive, and it challenges your ability to move quickly. The company's about 4.5 years old. The solution's been on the market for about 3 years, and been very well received across a variety of different sizes of organizations in different phases of development, and also just different applications. Our platform's flexible enough that you can do small molecules, you can do biologics. I tell people you could, manage a beer brewing process in our software, or a cake baking process in our software. It's that flexible. So you can build whatever you want if you're manufacturing something. Absolutely. We really pride ourselves on using customer feedback to improve the product. So a lot of the features that are in there today weren't envisioned originally, but through customer feedback and their engagement, and they're just passionate about what the software can do for them, has really improved the software immeasurably in ways that's benefiting the entire industry, because it's not just built for them, it's built for everybody. A lot of times people say, well, how did I come up with this idea, right? They ask me that question. And, back in the first half of the last decade, I was the chief operating officer at Xeris Pharmaceuticals. I was dealing with, all these same problems, and through scale up and development. And, it was very frustrating, it was very difficult. But that's what everybody in the industry knows and does. And I think what our message is, it just doesn't have to be that way anymore, right? There are a variety of new tools that are coming out for different phases, whether it's R&D discovery, or it's digital CMC, or it's MES and commercial manufacturing and CPV. There's all these tools out there, and I think if you're willing to embrace them and really make them a part of your business process, then you can get a tremendous amount of leverage, and efficiencies, which is what we need today. because as the pandemic showed us, rapid response is something that's going to be critical for the industry going forward, regardless of what the actual situation is. We get a lot of feedback along those lines, and there was a person who said to me once that, because I was commenting that we have a lot of non-pharma people in our company, and they ask a lot of questions about, well, why is it done this way? Does that really make sense? And I said, I don't know if, in the early days, I don't know if we'll be successful because, there's a lot of non-pharma people in the company. And this person said, because you have a lot of non-pharma people in the company, you probably will solve the problem because you're not going to have all the biases that the people in the industry might have. So that's, a great point, and we've leveraged that experience and the experience of our advisors who are from the industry to, I think, build a solution that's pretty user-friendly and intuitive for the industry. Well, go to our website first. Take a look at the information we have there. We try to do a lot of thought leadership and write white papers and blogs to explain why what we're doing is important for the overall industry. So I'd say start there, and then contact us for a demo. We also do a lot of pilot projects with companies. It's sort of a try before you buy approach where, we can work with a small team of yours for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And you can, bring your own data into the platform for your own projects and really see what that fit is with your own business process and your own organization. That usually leads to a broader engagement because people really appreciate the utility that our software brings and the efficiencies it does bring to their operations.